Hey folks, I'm Andrea and this is the Capitalism for Good podcast. This is 100 interviews with business leaders making a positive impact on their community. You should know I am not a journalist. I am not a seasoned creator. I'm not a professional podcaster. I am, however, a small business owner who's looking to learn from those who've founded, grown, led, and scaled companies while keeping their own values front and center. I am looking for those who have kept their soul intact. I'm looking for those who have done things the right way so that I can follow in their footsteps and I can learn from them in real time. I also am a customer and a consumer who's constantly looking to make intentional decisions about how I spend my money. I also think I'm not the only person in the world who has that kind of a mindset, so I'm recording these conversations here in the Capitalism for Good podcast project so that you can learn right along with me if that is your jam. There are ads in this free version that support the production of this podcast. If you don't like that and you would rather channel your dollars a little bit more directly to the creator, then there's an ad-free version as well as early releases and an entire exclusive Between the Interviews podcast series over at patreon.com/capitalism4good. You should note that I am not just listening and learning here, I'm also trying to walk the walk as we talk the talk here. And so a portion of all of the Patreon dollars go to a different charity every month. So we are just spreading the goodness through community givebacks, just like so many of those other company leaders that we are talking to. All right, so today we have Elizabeth Hudy. She is the owner of the Peach Fuzz, and this is a creative brand with a really strong give back game, both monetarily through donating a portion of her sales, but also sharing freely the resources that she herself has created so that she can help other small businesses make things a little bit easier in their world. In fact, I heard about Elizabeth right here on this podcast while we were interviewing Tori Hall. She was the owner and operator of Sower Books in Lincoln, Nebraska. If you have not listened to that episode, I strongly recommend listen to that one either before or after we listen to Elizabeth here. Tori talked about how she saw Elizabeth post something on social media about how she was redistributing higher than expected profits right back to our employees. And Tori was like, yes, that. I want to do that. How do I do that? I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. So now we are talking to Elizabeth so we can all learn how to do that from her. She also leverages her fun creative designs on things like stickers and hair clips and lighters and all sorts of things so that she can make a very clear, simple message. All are welcome, and we should care about one another. It is that intentionality that can be seen in every detail from everything that she makes, from eco-friendly materials that she chooses, mindful packaging, donating 10% of every purchase to a worthwhile cause. And then you can participate in all of this goodness by purchasing the things that she's making, like t-shirts and pins with messages on it, like abolish ICE, queer joy cannot be legislated away, and baseball hats that just say overwhelmed. She is a self-described neurodivergent loudmouth that's a creative with an accounting background, and she is here to make some moves, start some conversations, and do a whole lot of good. One final note here, there is some cursing. I started it, I'm the problem, it's me. But I also recognize that cursing is not everyone's jam. Speaking right to my own mother here. And then also some people listen around kids or like for whatever your reasoning is, you are not down with the cursing version right now. So there is an edited version that exists without the cursing. I have posted both of those. I have labeled it. That version without the cursing is not this one. If that's what you want, go to the clean one. And for all of you dirty birds who are down with curse words, welcome in, get cozy if you want to. If you don't and you want to just stay uncomfortable because you're trying to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, whatever you want, that's fine. Okay, enough with my voice and on to Elizabeth and her voice. Enjoy. My quiet part that I don't really say out loud all that often is at the end of the day, I just want people to be able to listen if they want to and feel like they can make a difference. That sounds so world peace and cheesy, but I'm I want people to feel like they
Dude,
can
it's what
make a
we need.
difference with, yeah,
Yeah.
what they're buying, what they're doing. I don't care what your job is. there's something that you can do that
Yeah.
can just make things not so awful and terrible. And
Yeah.
we all have the ability to do that. And I mean, this entire project started because I myself was starting my own small business and had been through, like so many of us, I had been through a lot of not so great work experiences. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to go about
Yeah.
it. And so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna just talk to people who are doing it the way that I would like to do it so I can figure out,
Sure.
like, let me just do what they're doing. And then if I'm gonna have these conversations, then I might as well record it. And
Yeah.
if anyone else wants to listen, then they can. And then that has since rolled into so many other things that I'm sure you can relate to. I am getting ready now at this current moment to start my own, like, purpose-driven, community-based refill shop. And
Ooh, fine.
it's just one of these things where like I feel like once you really start surrounding yourself with specifically business owners who have figured out how to like merge their values with the thing
Yeah.
that they're doing, it's really difficult to not be like, well, I want to do that too.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think like it definitely does matter to consumers too, especially like in our universe or our country where like people we don't have culture, we have consumerism.
Mm.
So like people are like, "Oh, well, I can't my vote doesn't make a difference, but I can make a difference in when I stop buying Domino's because they're BDS." Like that's the only way that we feel like we have control. So it is an interesting like, okay, well, I was already trying to do things right, but now that's kind of like on the trendy side. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
How is also oh my gosh, I'm like running 14 steps ahead. Whenever this starts, I will have dropped in a little intro that'll explain you and the Peach Fuzz, remind people that there will be links to all of that. And so when we jump in here, it'll really just be us jumping in here the way that I
Yeah.
do it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to tell people that.
Yeah.
Um, when you were starting the Peach Fuzz, was that an intentional thought? Like, was that you being like, okay, this is how I can merge these things with like people can make a difference through culture or through consumerism? That's a piece of culture, or was it like what was that motivation there?
I mean, I started it like I had just graduated college and Trump was just elected president the first time. So I was like, I'm really angry. I know that people are going to need help, but I don't have any money. So how can I help people? Uh, And I was like, well, I kind of like drawing for fun, so I might as well like draw designs and then put them up on like Redbubble for people to buy and just whatever money I make, I'll donate to Planned Parenthood Action Fund. Because I also like since my background is in accounting, I also had an understanding that like, okay, if 501(c)(3) is tax deductible, but that's not the political action edge of it. And so like people like Planned Parenthood Action, who does like the legal and court stuff, like they actually are the ones that need your money, but people aren't donating there because they want the tax write-off. And I'm like, I'm a poor college student. I don't need, like, I'm not donating enough to warrant a tax write-off anyway. So I might as well go towards the side that needs it more. It's kind of funny to like think that I started like that. And then like last year we donated $129,000. So like it really has kind of gone out of control. Um, but that was my like motivating factor was like, okay, I have this skill set that I'm gonna be doing anyways. I might as well make money off of it. And I had a job like right out of college that was going to be taking care of my expenses. So I was like, I don't need this art to be paying for my life. I can just do this for fun and feel good about what it's going towards.
Yeah. Okay, this is not at all on the outline. And stop me if you don't want to get into it, but
I want to
like
get into everything.
when you were when you were talking about setting the scene, you had just graduated college when
Yep.
Trump had been elected for his first term.
Yeah.
So, to put it into context where I'm coming from, I graduated high school and went to college in 2008 when Obama was first elected. It was
Okay.
also the recession at that time,
Yep.
but the recession at that time was fueled by I grew up in middle America. It was also a lot of like hope. There's like everyone's blending together. I'm in the middle of the country that feels like a melting pot. Like things are really, really awful, but also like we have this beacon of hope that is like,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
literally his slogan was like hope.
Yeah.
And you are entering your version of adulthood. I mean, one's college and one's high school,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
still like that transition period of the exact opposite of that.
Right, right.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into the the economics of what's going on in the job market and all of those things like feel very uncertain in at least from my perspective similar ways, but the Trump of it all is much
Yeah.
scary and like fueled by all of this like fear. And I am wondering from your perspective because I imagine like if you were coming into Trump, like were you feeling hopeful at all in the years leading up to it, and then you hit that moment where you were like, oh
Girl,
shoot,
I thought we were
that's
going to have
what?
a female president. I thought we were going to
Yeah,
be excited to have Hillary Clinton. I
yeah,
remember posting on Facebook or on Instagram being like, I'm
yeah.
with her. And like
Uh-huh.
looking back now, I'm like, but like, so
Yeah.
it's funny to think of like, I thought I was like the progressive outsider, and I've gone so much further the opposite direction. Like, you know, hate Trump, hate everything he's done for this country, but god damn if he didn't make so many of us like activists. Like it really lit the fire because I was like, this is egregious. Like I've always been the one that like spoke up for people. I had this like really strong sense of justice. Maybe it's like the undiagnosed autism of it all, also the ADHD, all that kind of stuff. But I was like, this is wrong. People should be smarter than this. Why are we letting this happen? And I was just like, I got to do something. I need to like try to communicate this to people in a way that maybe they can understand or like trick them into being more progressive or something. Like there's
Yeah.
something, I have to do something.
Yeah. That's such an interesting way to think about it because you're right. There especially at that time. It could have been, I mean, again, same thing. Like there was, given those two choices, 100% I want a female president. Like we're
You're right.
moving, we just had our first black president. We can have our first woman president. The US is going to rule the world in the
Yeah.
greatest of ways. But that also is a little bit of like the safe trajectory. And granted, we also, hindsight's 2020, we know a lot more now. It's okay. That is what happens with knowledge and we evolve. But
Yes.
like, it it did in a weird way force us to be like, all right, you can't just like be quiet and like accept that things are going to be smoothly and continue to go upwards. Like we still have to take a stand somewhere. We still have to speak
Yeah.
up. And if we don't, it's going to get very scary, but it's a little bit of like a pressure test
Right. For
in
sure.
what's happening.
I think it also made us like scrutinize liberalism in a big way that like a lot of people, I know I didn't know how to do that at the time. I was like, I'm an upper middle class white girl who's never really had tremendous struggles
Yeah.
in terms of like, I mean, I'm extremely privileged.
Yeah.
Um, and I was able to be just like blissfully unaware that like Hillary had no shot. So, and like I that was actually an area where I got like a lot of pushback this last election cycle because I was very like I did not like Kamala Harris because I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, this is going to be Hillary 2.0. Like Hillary Clinton literally did the Pied Piper strategy with Donald Trump of like they propped him up because they're like, oh, he'll be easy to beat. It'll be so much better than trying to fight like who's the Mormon guy, Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Like he'll be so much easier to fight, and they got their asses handed to them. And I'm like, we're not going to do that again. So when I saw Kamala being like, we do need to be tough on the border, I was like, red flag, red flag. This is not how we do this, guys.
Yeah.
Um, and now I'm just, unfortunately have a platform where I can bitch about it, and people didn't love it, but whatever.
But how do you feel about that? Like being able to use your business as your platform or leverage one another if they're not fully merged in there, especially, I mean, there's so many things right now that need to be, at least from my perspective, I'll be very careful about that for only the way to say I don't want to speak for anyone else. From my perspective,
Sure.
there's a lot of bullshit happening that we need
Yeah.
to open up our mouths and say something about. And I think about this constantly. I put the word capitalism in the name of my projects. And so I'm taking a stance right there, even if nothing else than to say, hey, money is power, and I recognize that someone in an entire select group of people are taking that and running with it in a really
Yeah.
gross way. And I
Yeah.
think that there's another way to go about it. And there's a lot of other solutions, and that's really great. But we need to talk about it. And
Yeah.
therefore, I'm going to find a way to talk about it and through the lens of being a small business owner because that's where I am right now. So that's going to make sense to me right now. And I'm curious what your perspective is on like merging those things.
Yeah, I think like over the years, it has sort of given me a little bit of an identity crisis because like so much of what I put out in the brand is like, it's me. It's fully authentically me. I'm not going to put something out that I don't believe in, and I'm not going to put stuff out that I'm not fully excited about and standing behind. So like at the beginning of my journey, it was very like white feminism, very like burn your bra, very like no gods, no masters, which love has a place. I was a burgeoning little baby feminist, and I that's what fueled me and that's what got me curious. So I understand the role that has. But now I'm like, listen, if you are progressive but still believe in capitalism, that's how you get fascism every single time. Like we are going to learn from history. We're going to see how it repeats itself, how it rhymes. And if you think that you can get there by still propping up capitalism, it's not going to work, baby cakes. Like
Yeah.
we got to figure this out. So I think my goal has kind of shifted from being
Mm.
like I'm no longer trying to argue with like MAGA online or with myself. I'm now trying to argue with like my liberal friends, being like, I
Mm.
know that you want something better than this, and you understand, like, you're a smart person, you understand how we got from point A to point B, and I just need you to understand that we are going to continue on this like hamster wheel until we decouple capitalism from the root of what it is to be America. Like
Mhm.
there's no way around it. And I think that a lot of people have this misconstrued understanding of like, oh, you can't be socialist and be a business owner. And I'm like, I love consumerism. I love my little treats. I love buying things. I I'm fully on board with that, but I don't think that people need to be starving on the streets in order for me to like have a necklace that I like. Like
Mhm.
these things can exist together. And honestly, my time as a tax accountant, I did taxes for high net worth individuals, and that was what really showed me like
Oh.
the people that I was doing taxes for made more in one pay stub than I made in the entire year. And they were not doing good things with it. They were sitting on it, and they were figuring out ways to trim their workforce or get a better deal on their third rental property. And I'm like, I can't be fucking bothered, dude. I can't give a shit. I'm so sorry. And that was what like sucked the soul out of me there. Um, like there was this guy that was like a founder of a huge company that I see billboards for all the time. Uh-oh. Hold on. My phone is doing. Okay. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. There was a guy that I did taxes for. He founded this like huge company I see billboards for all the time, and I will never forget like his only donation that he had that year was like $24 to the Pigeon Society, which I didn't even know was a thing. So kudos to him for being creative in what he gave his money to. But I'm like, these people are not our saviors. They will never give a shit about us. Like ever, ever, ever.
Hmm.
And these were people that were like lauded as what is the word I'm looking for? What's it called when you give a lot of money? Philanthropists,
Hmm.
philanthropy and stuff. And I was like,
Hmm.
no, dog, they're giving money to their own trust that I also had to do the taxes for. That is just like making it so they don't have to pay any money into social safety nets. And they're adult children that will never work and are just floundering, like
Hmm.
just floundering every opportunity they've been given.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I think there's got to be a better way. There's got to be.
Yeah. I struggle sometimes in thinking about that where I'm like, because there are people like you that are like, hold on, but I can do something. I'm smart about this. I'm smart about money. There's a way that I can go about this that will actually like put food on the table for people and like kind of fix some problems. And I'm
Yeah,
leveraging capitalism that I see if we're going to keep going on this trajectory, like
yeah.
I see where it ends up, but we're in this situation now and I'm going to leverage it for something good. But then there's this other side of it that's like human nature is where I get stuck, where I'm like, okay, so how much of human nature is good? How much of human nature is not? And like,
I think human nature is like inherently good. Like I think I see people in Minnesota right now, a state that's under attack, and they are coming together to provide meals to people who are too afraid to leave their house. And like, I don't know, I just see too many examples of people being like, no, it like this is what it's all about, is about caring for your neighbors and having block parties and like, you know, just like community care. It just seems so simple. And I had this thought the other day because I was watching this other podcast with these older people. I think it's called like Necessary Conversations, where it's like these really progressive younger people are trying to like talk to their like boomer parents who are MAGA. And they were talking about like student loan forgiveness. And they're like, well, we struggled to pay off your student loan, so why should somebody else get it for free? And I'm like, that is such a different perspective than like everything that I've done since starting the business is like, this was really hard for me. How do I make sure it's not hard for anybody else?
mhm.
Because to me, that seems like a waste of effort, a waste of human flourishing, a waste of our resources and efficiency for multiple people to have to figure out something over and over and over again. And that's like what led me to do small business resources on my website. Because I was like, this was really fucking hard. There's no reason why somebody else needs to do this work a second, third, fourth, 100th time because I already did it. And so
Yeah.
I just think that that's like, and that's the individualization that we've been like bonked upside the head with capitalism and stuff, of being like, I don't care about you, it's all about me and mine. And I'm just like, no, I want all of my friends to be comfortable so we can all hang out and play together.
Yes.
Like I don't want you to have to worry about like how you're going to make rent. I want us to go and like play at the park.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think like at the end of the day, no matter how much, if you're not a person who's like lovey-dovey, touchy-feely, like these great vibes are going to make you happier, okay, then the logic will prevail that if you are
Yes.
surrounded by other people, and if you have all of these specialized things that we have in a capitalist society or that we have in other kinds of society, if we have all of these people with their own special talents and you lean on them to do the things that they are good at, then therefore it makes your life easier. It takes
Yes.
stress away. It makes
Yes.
everyone's life better. Both things can be true at the same time, but like I struggle to find the logic in any argument that ends up with this like pull yourself up by the bootstraps, only the
Yeah.
loudest, toughest, biggest, strongest bully wins. I'm like, yeah, your voice is louder until you end up in the collective effervescence of what's happening in Minneapolis right now, like you're saying,
Right.
of all of these people being like, hell no, we're going to take care of our neighbors. We're going to take care of the people around
Yeah.
each other.
And like which society do you want to live in? I want to live in the one where I know all my neighbors and people. It's the very same people. Like the boomers are the same ones who are like, "Oh, we used to know our neighbors and all this." And I'm like, "When's the last time you left your house? When's the
When's the
last
last time
time
you
you
weren't
like
peeking
took
out
a
the
pot
window?
roast?" Yeah. Or like being like, oh, those kids out there riding their bike, I'm like being children.
Right.
You know, like you are the people that are complaining about this. You are the people that set this up. I can't handle the hypocrisy. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. How much of that like community bring people in? I'm gonna call it like a fun vibe, like I did when I just
Hmm.
word vomited when we got on the Zoom. How much of that is just like your natural personality, and how much of that is like an intentional, like I'm trying to get attention so that we can bring people into this conversation? Like this is a little bit of a tool to like, hey, this is fun and flashy. There's a meaning behind it.
It's all very intentional, probably more than it should be. I like don't know how to just like do things randomly anymore because I'm always like, okay, well, what will these people think about this? Like, I'm a little too strategic now, I think.
Yeah.
But it's something that I definitely had to like work at because I I mean, my whole family is very like we keep to ourselves.
Mm.
Um, my mom's best friend is her mom, and like that's kind of the only friend she has. And same about my grandma, you know. So I'm like, I can't live like this. I just like I need to be around other people, and I think it's not something I come by naturally. I have anxiety, like leaving the house does make me nervous a
Yeah.
lot of times just for like the logistics of like what if the bus doesn't come at the right time and then I miss the second transfer, you know, all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, I have to show up in order to get the life that I want that is full of people that I love and people that give back to me and that I can give back to. So it's like a necessary practice for me.
Yeah.
And it's become easier like over time to be like, okay, no, I don't really want to go to this like art show or whatever when it's like already dark out at 5 p.m. But like the resistance requires me to show up to
Yeah.
my community, and that helps me like put on my jacket and be like, all right, I'll go catch the bus. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm constantly telling myself, like, just do one thing. Just do one thing.
Yeah.
And if it's one thing today, if it's one thing right now, if it's just, I mean, I had a day yesterday where I was just like a little unmotivated, a little stuck, a little like writer's block, a little everything of like, I just want to do it. And finally I was like, okay, Andrea, just do one thing. And then of course
Hmm.
now it's like 9:30 p.m. and I'm like, I'm gonna build a new website right now and I've got
Right,
all these
right.
ideas. And sometimes it's
You
just
just got to
like,
get that ball
do the one
rolling
thing.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thinking about that community, and then you mentioned give back. I want to really make sure that we take some time to talk about what community give back means to you in the way in which you incorporate it into your business model. And maybe just start with like, did that exist from the very, very beginning, or is that something you worked into later?
Yeah, so in the beginning, there was only like certain, it always started as like part, like one of our main components, pillars, whatever, is fundraising. And it used to be like just specific designs we're going towards,
Mm.
like whatever relate, like if it said abortion is healthcare, it would go towards like Planned Parenthood or something
Yeah.
that made like a very obvious connection. And then like 2 years ago, I was like, okay, we had pretty decent profits this year. Like, what do I want to change moving forwards? And I was like, you know, we could make a lot bigger contributions. Like, let's figure out a different setup here. And I switched it to being like, there's still certain products, like my Abolish ICE products, are always going to go to like immigration aid and stuff. But then I would do an additional amount that brought us up to 10% of all sales. So if someone spends $10 with us, a dollar of that is going to go immediately to an organization. And that really jump started it and like made it like reinvigorated me also because I was like, oh, this is of course why I started it. And
Yeah.
like I needed to remind myself of that. I think I was so caught up in like the years where I was like, this is cool, but now I got to figure out like this isn't just for fun as my side gig anymore. Like I got to figure out how I'm going to pay for like health insurance and like
Mm.
my San Francisco rent and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, in March of 2020, I guess is that when the pandemic like really got
Hmm.
raring. I got let go from my accounting job. Um, that was crazy. I hated that job. I hated it. So,
Uh-huh.
you were talking about like not good work environments. That was my only work environment, and it was atrocious. And they let me know during the exit interview. They're like, just so we're clear, we'd be letting you go with or without a pandemic right now. And I was like,
Glad that needed to be
super
said.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I love telling this story because it's so silly, but it was like, 2 weeks into like the work from home mandate. And so everybody was like trying to figure out cool things to do in their Zoom calls to make the like vibes a little better. So I wore this like big sparkly headband that I had that's like literally goes out to here, even though it was with like my boss's boss, like the meeting.
Right.
But I was like, they'll enjoy like I always had like the only cubicle that was decorated. I'm like, they know who they hired here.
Yeah.
And so I sat in the meeting with this like sparkly ass headband, and they're like, yes, so we're letting you go for poor performance.
Oh my
And I was
God.
like, okay, best thing that ever happened to me because I could
Hmm.
just like stay home, focus on the brand, and also like I was already saying the things online that people were searching for people that were saying those things.
Yeah.
So it just gave me all the time in the world to lean into it. And I
Yeah.
haven't ever looked back. But I don't remember where I was going with telling a story. Oh, like supporting myself off of it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
since then I was like, okay, I cleared the hurdle of like making this my full time and like supporting myself. So now let's refocus on donating stuff. And yeah, it was awesome to be able to do over $100,000 the past two
That's
years now.
wild.
Yeah. I think like
Congratulations.
over
And
all of
thank you.
time, it's been like $400,000 or something. It's
Oh my
it's nutty.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Blows my mind
Do
all
you
the time.
have do you have enough, I don't know what the right word is, time, space, perspective, whatever, to actually like let that sink in?
I think having conversations like this re-centers it of being like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. Um, and like especially I think like it's kind of weird that like so now we're in Trump too, and like the business has been really good because people are looking for abolish ICE t-shirts and stuff like that. And like I think that would feel really smarmy if I wasn't donating 100% of those sales.
Yeah.
So I think that it helps me like feel like I'm doing enough because I also have this complex of being like, you're not calling your reps enough, you're not protesting enough, you're not donating enough. And it like really, yes, each of these elements is very important, but it really helps me like settle back down and be like, no, you are doing the work and it is making a difference. Especially, I got like a message from one of the abortion funds that I donate to, and they're like, oh, yeah, that donation you made last quarter, we funded, like, we fully paid for 3 abortions with that. And I was like, that's what I'm fucking talking about, dude. Like, there's 3 people now that don't have to worry about it, and their lives are not ruined by an unplanned pregnancy. Like,
Mhm.
that to me, I was like, that's it. I can die happy now. Like this
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
So it really like makes getting up and like taking the meetings and answering the emails like
Yeah.
feel like there's a greater purpose than just, keeping a roof over my head and now my employees' heads.
Yeah. What do you say to people who are in a position, they own a small local business or something themselves, and they're like, I'm just not stable enough. The world is crazy enough. I don't have enough security. I'm not at a place to be able to do a give back or something like that. Even though they might want to, their heart's in the right place. They're just like, ugh, I don't know. Like, what would you say to someone like
um,
that?
I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but it will make people support you more if you're doing good things with your money.
Yeah.
Like, I think a big selling point of my brand is the fact that we give back. And that's what makes people come to me to do their gift shopping versus some other random place. So, like, it's a marketing investment, you know? The same way that you'd be like, oh, okay, doing meta ads, that's a marketing investment. Like, having an additional selling point, especially like, there's so many people trying to make sticker businesses and shit like that now, which I think is great. I think everybody should try it if you want to. I mean, I'm certainly a success story, and I want this for everybody. I want everybody to quit their corporate jobs. But like, you need ways to differentiate yourself, and doing good things and giving back to your community with the money that you take in is going to make people trust you and come back to you, and it's going to make it easier. And also, you don't have to donate $100,000. You can donate like a couple, like 10 cents from every purchase, or
$24 to the pigeon thing. You're doing
yeah,
fine.
do something, anything, or do like a specific fundraiser, being like, okay,
Yes.
we're going to do 10% of all sales this weekend, and let people know and see the difference that it makes in people like coming to you specifically to purchase.
Yeah.
Just give it a little go, I think.
Yeah. I was just earlier today, like going through some of the old interviews that I have done, and one was with a woman who owns a tortilleria, and she's very much like wanting to make sure that all of the ingredients are being sourced from farms very locally, and like she's doing things to support her local community. And she said, sometimes there are people that'll be like, get the politics out of my food, and she's like, I can't.
Literally
I
everything's political. Fuck off. What are you
exactly.
talking about?
Yeah.
Also, I want to say, like, donating money is not the only way that you can like have your brand be progressive, ethical, all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm particular with who I hire, where I source from. Like, I would rather die than put my stuff on Amazon. Like, it's just not going to happen. I actually got an email from them once being like, hey, put your stuff on Amazon. And I responded to them saying, I would rather close my entire business than work with Amazon. Have a nice day. And like,
Yeah.
I worked with Urban Outfitters last year, and then they like ripped off another artist, and I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to work with you guys anymore. And I made sure that they knew why I was no longer going to work with them. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do that don't impact your bottom line in the
Mhm.
same way that donations will. So if people are, worried about that, look for other ways that you can make your stuff more environmentally friendly, more sustainable, ethical, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the resources that you have on your website and like the work that you
Yeah.
do with small businesses and like just I think about it in terms of, again, just gonna take my perspective and experience here, that like I call myself like a try hard in the best of ways. Like when I was a kid, I was the overachiever. I was just always trying to do too much. I was told
Hmm.
I was
What's
annoying
your
all
sign?
because of it. Ooh, guess.
Well, if someone says overachiever, I'm always going to guess Capricorn.
Close. I'm Aquarius.
Okay. Okay. Fair. We get
Uh,
along.
are you Capricorn?
I'm a Capricorn, like a walking, talking business. It's just
When
in
was
my
your
blood.
birthday? Was it just recently? Well, obviously it
Yeah,
was just recently.
December 27th. I turned 30.
Happy late birthday.
Thank you.
I mean, that's really, 30 was such a like, it was like a 3-year period of like changing just so much of my life and like so many
Yeah.
realizations and so many things. And part of it was this evolution. You mentioned like anxiety and this overachiever, this I gotta do too many things. And like my
Hmm.
entire life, there was at least a low level of anxiety
Yeah.
everywhere, if
Yeah.
not like full-blown panic attack. But it was going, I have to tell you, I'm getting ready to turn 36, and I constantly joke like, am I broken? Am I healed? Because like that doesn't exist anymore. And not to say that like I don't get anxious about things or like the world isn't challenging or anything like that, but it doesn't look the way that it did before.
Oh, that's
And
exciting.
I think part of it is because I just worked really hard to like merge my values with everything that I was doing. And like I
Yeah.
kind of like use my anxiety as my superpower. Like if I just need to
Sure.
move forward, stop fighting it, just go with it and go
Yeah.
forward. And if you need to chill for 4 hours and not do anything, fine. But
Yep.
but I think part of where I was going with all of that with like the overachiever is like stop feeling bad about being an overachiever, just be an overachiever for good things. And
Yeah.
like if we talk about like having bad bosses and stuff, like there's so many companies that I went to work for and I started working for them at the beginning and I was like, this is so great. I love your mission. I love my coworkers. I love my boss. This is really
Yep.
great. I'm going to do great things. I'm going to make a difference. We're going to make this more efficient. We're going to do great things for people. And then, 4 changes in leadership in 3 years later, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? And now I'm working for someone else's mission that they don't understand and that they're not invested in. They're just like, find ways to give us more money. And
Yeah.
but now it's not. But I feel like there's a way to like channel that overachiever into being like, okay, so I am going to find ways to do give backs, and there are ways to sustainably and responsibly source your materials. There are ways to put abolish ice on our t-shirts and make a statement that is
Yeah.
actually going to like open up conversations and things for
Yeah.
people's eyes. And like there are things that I think, at least in my world, were looked down on as like negatives of like,
Yes.
chill out, you're
Yes.
being too much.
Being
And like,
dramatic. Yeah.
yeah. And be
Being
like,
a girl. Yeah.
watch me be dramatic. It's gonna do some great things.
Yeah. Like, why are you getting so worked up that a woman was murdered for turning down a guy on a college campus? Like, I distinctly remember that conversation. I was so angry. My parents were like, it's not happening to you. Why are you so upset? And I'm like, because I am her. She is me. What are
It
we
could have been you.
talking about? Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh. Okay, I got way off track with what you were talking about. Small
Sorry. I know
business
I
resources and
got you
stuff.
off track also.
But I think that that's part of it of like, okay, so if you're an overachiever and if you're gonna figure it out and you're gonna like channel all of this stuff to be like, all right, let's find good ways to do good things, then why
Hmm.
not put it out there? Why
Yes.
gatekeep it behind all of these things? And like, was that something that you started doing right away to just be like, let's be transparent, or did you notice that there was like a need for that later on?
Well, I don't know if you're familiar, but most artists don't have an accounting degree. So, that was something that I noticed pretty quickly. And I was like, oh, these people are out here just raw dogging their books, like not documenting any of their expenses. And then come tax time, they're getting taxed out the wazoo because they didn't have any expenses to report. And I was like, I'm not team IRS. I'm team you keeping as much of your money as possible. Let's make sure that happens. And there was too many times where I was like, oh, I've already made myself a beautiful spreadsheet that like is hard coded to go to all the right things. Why don't I just like I was already sending it to my friends who needed it. I'm like, let's just make it a digital download on the website. Then everybody can take it. And like things like that I was like, other people don't know that like the more you buy of something, the lower the price of that inventory gets. Just like certain things like that, or like looking at my sales reports and being like, okay, the sticker that says I don't care what the founding fathers wanted was our best selling sticker for like the third quarter in a row. What else can we put that on? We can put it on a hat, we can put it on a patch, we can put it on a print. And like I guess they don't teach you that in art school. So I had this like very unique skill set and the student loan payments to remind me of it that I was like, we got to make this shit worth it. I did not
Yeah.
bust my ass through college and get my CPA degree or my CPA license in 6 months
Yeah.
for me just to drop it when I realized that it was no longer like what I wanted to be doing. Because I still really enjoy, like, I love a good spreadsheet. I love looking at the numbers and watching the sales data and like figuring out, oh, we have a sticker that says, I'm a reflection of all the coolest girls I've ever known. And it's like, it goes bangers for when people are doing bridesmaid proposal boxes.
Yeah.
And we've been getting so many orders for it. And I was like, oh, duh, because people get engaged over Christmas break. And like figuring out how that stuff ties together
Yeah.
is, I love it. I love, love, love that kind of stuff. So it was a very natural progression for me to be like, hey, I've already got these systems set up. I'm just going to share them with you guys because there's no reason why you shouldn't also be doing things efficiently and correctly. Like, no reason.
I love that. Okay,
So,
so this is a really
yeah.
good time to bring in. Okay, her name is Tori Hall. She's an owner and operator of Sower Books in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Hmm.
She owns this bookstore that also has like a cat adoption spot right next to it.
Oh,
And it's
fun.
like just so fun, just this like ray of sunshine in the middle of America, and I love it so much. She's the one who just like organically brought up the peach fuzz, and then I emailed her and told her that I was talking to you, and I was like, "Hey, I've done this thing a couple times where someone from like an interview before sends in a question. Do you want to?" She was really excited about it. So here's
Okay.
her question. So she she tries to recalculate her cost every couple of months, and they almost inevitably increase along with
Mm-hmm.
sales, luckily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But she's trying to stay frugal and like hoard money, but also do her best for her customers and like keep prices reasonable for them. And so she's just trying to like balance all of these things together. So she's asking you, what kind of cushion do you have in place for this kind of a situation? Slash, how do you forecast whether or not you'll have enough money? And how do you pay out the profit redistribution to your staff without freaking out that you'll come up short if you get an unexpected bill? I'll also add in a tie in there. She didn't write it in her question, but she specifically brought up you posted something at some point
Mm-hmm.
about your redistribution, and
Yeah.
she, as a business owner, was like, "Oh, that I want to do that.
Yeah.
How do I do?"
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where her brain is with this.
Yeah. It's super informal the way that we have it all set up currently because
Yeah.
like I've only had employees for a year. Like
Oh
I've had
wow. Okay.
contractors and stuff. Well, I guess it's been 2 years. Like my longest term employee that has been with us for a year and a half. So it's still very new and it's like and it's hard also because like I'm not just an owner, like everything that we sell has come from me. So, a lot of people online love to comment on that particular post where I was talking about like, oh, we made 1.2 million last year, but we had $995,000 in expenses. And they're like, oh, you're the petite bourgeois. Like, I was like, yes, ish. I am a business owner. I do like own my own home and stuff. Like I own like personal property, but like I'm still a laborer. Like I get a wage and stuff. Like we are still all the working class.
Hmm.
Um, which makes it a little bit different too, because I'm like, I don't know what percentages are right to pay out to people and stuff. I kind of just Googled like what is a good bonus to get, and it was like it said something like 5 to 10%. And I was like, okay, that's what I'll give them. Um, and I make sure that we have around like at least $50,000 in the bank account for like cushion. That's not based really on anything other than like past years where I had like a crazy high tax bill and I was like, oh shit, we only have $30,000 now after paying taxes. And I still have to like buy inventory and stuff because of the way the inventory cycle is set up. And like other manufacturers shut down for an entire month in February. So I have to front load all of my inventory costs in January so I can make it through February while they're like shut down and stuff. Um, I've just kind of learned based off of that cycle of like, okay, here's a comfortable amount so that we
Mm.
can not get wiped out with taxes and also have enough to restock our inventory.
Yeah.
And everything else on top of that, I was like, yeah, this person has done a really good job this year. I'm going to give them an extra bonus. And like these people, I would love to pay them more. So I kind of wait until year end to be like, oh, we can pay them more before
Mm.
instead of just like doing it up front
Yeah.
and being like screwed at the end if it didn't work out. And I'm
Mm.
very transparent with my employees being like when we negotiate their salary and stuff, I'm like, I would love to pay you so much, but I don't know how the money is going to pan out. So stick with me. We'll
Yeah.
see. And I guarantee you that like if it is comfortable at the end, I will give you that money. I would love to have it be a more stringent structure. I don't know that I would ever give up. I don't know enough about like the ownership divvying up and stuff. And also, like I was mentioning, like everything is coming from my brain, my ideas and
Yeah.
stuff. So like I would like to retain ownership of that.
Right.
But there are and it's hard when like this has been my baby for 8 years, and people jump on, and like I can never expect another human to care about it as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just not it's
Yeah.
just not realistic to expect
Yeah.
that of a stranger. Like, and my employees give me a run for my money in that department. Like, they care a lot, but I'm like, I need you to like take a break because this is my cross to bear. I'm
Yeah.
the one that is staying up late at night because I can't fall asleep because I'm thinking about how am I going to arrange the booth for the craft show next week. Like, that is not. I don't want to put that on anybody else.
Yeah.
So I try to balance that as best as I can. I try to be really like transparent with everybody that I work with, saying like, how are you doing? Are you comfortable? Like, what do we need
Mm.
to readjust how much you're getting paid based off of your like previous roles? Does this feel comfortable? And it's like an ongoing conversation because I've never been a boss before. I've never owned a business before. Like,
Yeah.
I'm learning it all as I go. And even in like doing brand partnerships and stuff like that, I've always just led with transparency of being like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know what I will not accept. So that is my floor. Let's talk about what we can do above that.
Yeah.
And it's worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking, I was thinking about like the relationship with risk and the relationship with, I was just talking to someone about this the other day, like getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And there's so much of our
Yeah.
in society, and there's so many different distractions and ways that we can like seek comfort as humans right now. But yet there's so much like growth that happens when we
Mm-hmm.
like put ourselves in uncomfortable situations to a certain extent. But then again, listening to you talk, you're saying to your employees, like, I want to keep you comfortable. I want to make sure that like we're taking care of what's going on. But I imagine you as a business owner, you're balancing like your creative side, your number side of your brain, all of these things. You're taking these very calculated risks. But
Mm-hmm.
it also sounds like you're being like, hate that this word's been like co-opted, but like you're taking a very conservative approach to it, not
Yeah.
in the political sense, but in like a fiscal, like you're being careful about
Yeah.
the things that you're doing. And I just wonder, like, where do you fall in your relationship with like risk there?
Mm. I think I to me for a long time, like spending any amount of money, it was high risk and it was something to be avoided.
Yeah.
Like, and as my dad's Polish, which is already like they're very frugal people. I grew up like not super wealthy. So I was always like, oh, if a garment is over $30, we do not look at it, you know? Um, and now I think with age and experience and seeing that like you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet type of deal, like I did not like the idea of spending $60,000 on advertising spend. Um, but it doubled our sales from 250,000 to 500 and then from 500 to a million. So I was like, yeah, this is a great fucking investment.
Yeah.
Like, and realizing, I just got a proposal. We're going to redesign our whole website and it's going to cost a pretty penny. And I feel the cycle of being like, oh, that's too much, I can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
to actually we do have money, we can afford this. Let's see how it impacts the business. I'm much more experimental now
Yeah.
than I like the whole cycle of that thought process is much quicker. Like when I saw the number that they gave me, Sarah's gonna see this now and know that I freaked out when I saw the number that she's charging me. But like immediately I was like freaked out and then I was like, actually, to have a full brand redesign that like I've never had, this is kind of a steal. I love it. This is going to do so many things for the business. I only have to do it once, and like I can excuse it a lot more or explain it away. So I think just the more you see that you do have to spend money to make money,
Yeah.
and now of course we're at a position where I can do that because there is a lot left over afterwards. But even like making the decision to hire a full-time social media person last year, I was like, I like to see how far I can get on my own first,
Yeah.
and then being like, okay, we do have a lot of cushion there. If I took that cushion and took all of this stuff off of my plate and gave it to somebody else, I would have so much more time to do other things that could bring the business money. Like just figuring out like where you're best suited, where that risk can get you.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah, it's an ongoing learning process, but it's a lot quicker now to realize where that experimentation. And also, I've always said this and I'll stand by it, like any fuck up that I make in the business feels a lot less painful because I know I can make content out of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
spend so much money on advertising and it doesn't do anything for our sales, I can make a video being like, listen to this dumbass me who thought that this was a good idea and here's what I learned from it, XYZ. And people love to hear stories about people failing. Like just they just love it. They
Yeah.
love it. So I'm like, all right, well, at least if nothing else goes right, I have good content and like another way to engage with my base.
Yeah. I
And
would,
that's like made it hurt a little less.
yeah, I would also say that that's a part of I mean, it's more of like a squishy way to go about it, but like that in and of itself is a resource for other small business
Yeah.
owners to be like,
Yeah.
oh, thank God I just did something similar. Like it's not
Yeah.
just me like ruining everything because I I think when it is your baby and you are the designer and the accountant and the social media person and the marketing like and you're all the things,
Hmm.
then like every mistake sometimes is like, ooh, did I just ruin everything that I'm working
Yeah.
on? And then when you see someone else do it and you're like, okay, we're all making mistakes here. Okay, it'll be
Right. And I
fine.
kind of like reverse engineered that and being like, I'm going to talk about my mistakes. So then other people will be like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. And then I feel less stupid because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not the only one. Whereas a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm so embarrassed I made this mistake. I'm never going to tell a soul.
Yeah.
Because like that just isolates you in your fuck up and allows you to make it into this huge thing versus talking about it and having other people be like, oh yeah, I do that 3 times a week. Like, no biggie.
You know, not to get to like too heady about this, but like it kind of seems so on brand for also so much that you put on the face of the things that you create, of just
Mm,
being like, we're all just humans. We're all just people.
yeah.
Like, come on. It's like this underlying way that you're sneaking in that like accessibility and inclusion and including people to be like, we're not all these picture perfect AI
Hmm.
renderings of what humans are. We're like actually just
It
human.
humanizes every element of it too. I mean, even from the point of like, you know, we got very nasty customer service emails during the holiday time, and I'm like, okay, time to make a video and let people know like we are real humans who are
Mhm.
just trying to do our best so that our dog can have a better life. Like, please don't yell at us.
Yeah,
Or
there's
like
not a
when you,
robot reading this. There's a human.
no, yeah, or when you like talk shit about a design I made. I'm like, well, that took me 40 hours to draw that and pick out the colors. And I'm sorry that you personally don't like it, but maybe change that, like the way you talk about it, because there are humans here. And so much of our world, you know, love technology, love what it's allowed us to do, but it has really made us only see like you said, like the picture perfect version of people. And I need to like shake them and be like, no, we're all the same. We're all so similar. What are you doing?
Yeah. Where do you see like the creative and the artistic endeavor fitting into like again, I'm not to be too heady about this, but you're just making me think so much about like the future of humanity and like there is so much, at least in the near future, that like there's I sense a lot of trial and error of people trying to figure out how we're going to utilize AI and large language models and all of these
Yeah.
different pieces of technology that are coming out, which like fine, but also because it's being experimented with so much that is creeping into, or in a lot of ways not creeping, just barging into
Yeah.
the creative aspect of so many things. And like you yourself as a creative who, again, like everything about the peach fuzz is you in your brain. And like
Right,
when I was
right.
asking you, like, what is this that's you and what is the brain? And you're like, it's all the same.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
where do you? what are your thoughts on where creatives stand and like the importance of them right now?
Um, I think, I mean, all throughout history, creatives are extremely important. There's a quote by Tony K. Bambara that's like my go-to. The role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. I think that we have a lot of power to make people look at things in a new and unique way, to expand people's understanding of things, to get out our own pent up feelings, to express ourselves, and to commiserate with our common man. Um, and like, you just can't achieve that if you're making AI slop. Like, it's just never gonna happen. Um, so like, I think even if I didn't have a business, I would still be creating. I would still be drawing. I would still be doing these things. So that part of it is never going to go away. I've never been like, oh, I wish I could just put this into a system and have it make it for me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's on being a control freak. But maybe that is also being like, no, I do this because it's so human of us. So I think like my intention moving forward is just to like highlight that for people and make them understand why AI is such a scourge. And it's not art and they shouldn't be just like accepting it. It's not inevitable. You know, I think a lot of people are like, well, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. It's like, well, no, we can shame every business that makes a ad campaign with AI, and then they
Yeah.
don't do it anymore, you know? And that comes back to us all being consumers at the root of it all and whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like this scene, and I'd love to be in a universe where like Congress is actually legislating on the use of AI, but
Imagine.
I don't know how much hope I have for that anymore. I'm every day I'm losing more and more hope in like electoral politics,
Uh-huh.
but I I still love watching everything about it because it's my housewives, you know. Um, uh,
It's drama, and if you can
it's
remove
drama in
yourself
a
from
different
it,
way. I
uh-huh.
just wish it wasn't so consequential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know if that really answered the question,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
kind of what I thought.
What about looking into the future, whether it is through the lens of the peach fuzz or whether it's through the lens of Elizabeth? Like, what do you have your eye on next?
I've really been toying lately with the idea of bringing more other designers on actually, because there's a lot more that I want to do that I just don't have the time and capacity. I love to call myself the patron saint of underemployed creatives. And so I'm like, okay, I have this friend who is between jobs, but they have an illustration degree. What can I put them on? Or like the ADHD of it all, being like, I started this design, but it's been sitting in my work in progress folder for 6 months now. Let me send it off to this person and have them just wrap it up in a day for me. So finding more opportunities for that where I can be like, there's so much work here to be done and so many people that like need the work.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how I can spread that out a little bit and have less on my plate and like letting go of that control a little bit. Doing more informational stuff. That was really big for me, like back towards my start. And so I want to get back into that. And like in the past year, I've been really focusing on like, I have a lot of anger at the current system, but
Uh-huh.
I also I don't think that the anger is good, it's righteous, and it can point people in the right direction. But there's also like, we need to have hope that we can change things, that a better future is possible, that we have an impact. So I've been trying to like focus on that. I read the book Let This Radicalize You, and that was really helpful. So I think um, just really expanding our efforts into all arenas and not just following whatever breadcrumb trail I'm on at the current moment
Yeah.
is something that I would really like to do.
It sounds like a really great way to like evolve your creativeness, but also your again, your like numbers strategy brain
Mm-hmm.
together, and whether it's like a formal mentorship program or whether it's just, pie in the sky idea. Maybe it's a brand that's like, hey, listen, we want to find a better way to do it. Can you help us do it? Like, we want to
Yeah.
do it the way you're doing it. And like,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. Seems amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, my last question that I ask everyone is who's another business and or leader that you see out there in the world that's doing things the right way? And it could be anyone that you are a customer of, an old boss of yours, a client of yours, an employee, absolutely anyone that you think deserves a shout out.
I've been thinking about this question a lot. And the person I keep coming back to is the brand New Works. They're a San Francisco brand. They do like so they it's cut and sewn in Oakland, California. They have their warehouse here. So all domestic production. They pay everybody fair wage, which we love, and they make like very unique pattern stuff. But the patterns are designed by a different artist every time. So they have like a preset shape or cut out, like clothing pattern of like, okay, we have six different dress styles, four different pants, and then they just make the fabric of whatever the artist has designed. Hopefully, this mention will get me in their good graces because I'm really trying to do a collab with them, and I've been pestering the owner Jen for ever, ever, ever.
Come on,
Um,
Jen.
I know. I just need to pitch her more stuff. It's really the ball has been in my court for a while, but
Yeah.
um, but I think it's a really fun way to like work with artists in a scale that like we don't usually get to work. Um, do it the right way, ethically made, and like really nice quality,
Yeah.
and it's just like fun clothes also. So I really like what they're doing, and they've kept it up for quite a while.
Shout out Jen and shout out New Works.
Yeah,
I love that so much. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
yeah.
I, I say this every time, and it is not a line. It's not just me trying to blow smoke. Like, I could talk to you and ask you questions for hours and hours. I love what you're doing. I love the resources for small businesses. Love the transparency. I love just the way that you are creating community by utilizing your strengths and your talents. And I just, you know, it, girl in suburbs of Kansas City, selling things in Lincoln, Nebraska, like touching people all over. And as much as I will talk shit on technology and AI, I like that it brings people like us together. And I just
Yes.
am so excited about it and can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.